Now we're doing freeCodeCamp, a JavaScript algorithms and data structures beta, review algorithmic thinking by building a dice game. All right. So I got a lot of requests to redo this one since these characters felt like turning it into a review instead of what it was before. So we're going to do this. Let's get started. So step 1. In this project, we're going to learn algorithmic thinking by building a dice game. There are a total of 6 rounds, and for each round, the player can roll the dice up to 3 times and collect a score. The HTML and CSS have been provided for us, and we can feel free to explore them. I already did. They're all normal. It has 2 media queries down here for responsiveness right here, but that's about the only kind of crazy thing that we got on this one. Where are we? So we're going to get all of our die elements, die class elements, and assign them to a list of all dice variable. We're going to get our score inputs, the input elements in our score options ID and score spans, and assign them to score inputs and score spans. We'll assign the current round ID element to current round and the current round roles ID element to current round roles. And then we're going to do the same for our total score and score history ID elements. We'll assign our roll dice button, keep score button, rules button IDs, and the rules container class to variables with properly formatted names. When the user clicks on the show rules button, they should be able to toggle between showing and hiding the game rules. We're going to create a variable isModalShowing to track the state of game rules. Each time the user rolls the dice, we're going to need to keep track of all the dice values. We're going to create a variable dice values are to track this. Throughout the game, we're going to need to keep track of the current score, total score, number of rolls, and which round the player's on. And so we're going to declare these variables for this purpose. We're going to think about what the starting value of each of these variables, not all these ones up here, should be, and all of these variables, not these up here, should be able to be reassigned. All right. At first, I thought it meant all of them should be lets, but only these ones should be lets. That being said, let's get started. So, first of all, we're going to get all of our die class elements and assign them to a list of all dice variable. All right. So let's come down here and do a const list of all dice. All right. So if you're like me and you haven't done any JavaScript in the past month and a half, you probably forgot how to do all this stuff. So let's come over here, open this thing in a new tab, the review algorithmic thinking thing. Go over here. There we go. We've got this here. And let's go up to platformer game, open up 117, and let's go scroll all the way to the top where the variables are to refresh ourselves on how to do this. All right. So we want something like this, a get element by ID, but this one's a class. And it's got this little thing right here saying all right here. So that's a little what's the word? Hint as well. So let's come over here. Let's get this query selector right here on line 3. Copy that, drop it off here. What? Not like that. Let's take everything after the equal sign, actually. Copy that. Drop it off here, all right? And remember, it says all, so we're going to do a query selector all on this one, like that. And let's put in here the die element. So let's just take start screen and turn it into die, thusly, all right? I hate how it's called die, but we can't just call it like douse, like mouse and mice, right? And douse and dice. No, that's how it's a die and die. Okay. So let's go to the next one. We're going to get our score inputs, the input elements in our score options ID and score spans, right? So this one, we're going to do another query selector all for this one. So let's grab this, copy it, drop it down here, all right? And drop one more because we're doing 2. We're doing for the inputs, score inputs, and the spans, all right? And so let's change it up in here to select the score options, all right? Let's change it from class die to ID score hyphen options, all right? And then we're going to change this to space. All right, what are we doing first? Input. get our score inputs. Let's change this variable name to score inputs. Input or inputs? Score inputs, all right? And then we're going to have score options space input like that, right? So let's take this here, copy it, drop it off here, change input to span. All right, change this to score spans. Let's see if that's what it was. Score spans, truly. All right. And that should be good right there. All right. So now that should be all the query selector, all we're going to do. So let's do two spaces. Let's skip line 4, let's say, and come down to line 5 so we can do all these IDs. All right. So now we're going to do the get element by ID. So let's just grab one of these. Let's grab this one on 2 so we can select 2 to the end of 1. Copy that. And let's drop it off. Let's select 5 and 4. Drop it off here one time. Actually, how many times do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 times. Is that 7 times? 7 times. All right, let's do it. So there's 1. Let's do it 6 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. All right. So now let's look at these. Scrolling up, going down. All right. It's better than shoveling dirt, isn't it? All right. So let's do assign current round to current round roles. Okay. Current round roles. Let's do that. Let's do the ID names first. Current round. Select this, drop it off here, add roles to the end of it. All right, what's next? Current round roles, total score, score history, roll dice button. Total score, score history, score history. What was the next one? Roll dice button, keep score button. All right. Roll die, come on now. Roll dice BTN. What was it? It's keep score button? Oh, I hope. Keep score BTN. What is it? Keep score? Yeah. There it is. Yeah. Rules button. All right. So a rules button at the bottom here. Rules BTN. Right. And the last one here is a class, and we're going to have to do just a regular query selector for that one. So let's change all these up first. All right, current hyphen round. Let's take this, copy it, paste it, put current round roles. All right, this one's going to be total score, total hyphen score. We've got score history. All right, score history. Let's do roll dice button, roll hyphen dice hyphen BTN. Keep score button. Keep hyphen score hyphen BTN, rules BTN, rule is BTN. All right. And so we're good there. And let's, and let's make the last one const, what was it? Rules container, right? So we'll say const rule is container equals, and then we're going to say, let's grab this stuff, and we can just take the all out of there. Query selector. All right, let's get rid of this stuff. Let's say dot rules container, rules hyphen container. And that should be good for those ones, for these ones right here, all right? So now we've got this. When the user clicks on the show rules button, they should be able to toggle between showing and hiding the game rules. So we're going to create a variable is modal showing to track the state of the game rules. Let's see if there's anything like that over here. I know how to do it, but I wanted to see if they've got anything over here. No. We probably did it earlier. I can't remember where, but let's do it over here anyway. All right, so what we're going to do for this one is this one's kind of like a flag. So we're going to say, and this is part of the lets. After these consts, we're going to be doing the lets. So on 15, we'll say let, what was it called? Is modal showing. Let is modal showing equal. And then we're going to have that equal false to begin with, all right? Because each time where are we? When the user shows the create a variable to track the state of the game rules, they should be able to toggle between showing and hiding the game rules. So yeah, it'll be false when it's hidden and true when it's not hidden, right? So after that, we're going to do the roll score, total, and round, all right? So we'll say let rolls equal, all right? And let's do a space. Let's copy this from 17 to 16, drop it off 1, 2, 3 times. We'll change the second rolls to score. Third one we'll change to total. And the next one we'll do round, right? So we're going to think about the starting values of each of these variables, blah, 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 right? So for rolls, we're going to have 0 to start off with, right? 0 like that, because we're not going to have any rolls to start off with, right? Same with the score. The score is going to be 0 to 0 to start off with. Total is going to be 0 as well. But the round, we're not going to be starting on round 0. We're going to be starting on round 1. So let's say round 1, semicolon like this, right? And so that should be everything. Cross your fingers. Rules BTN. Where are we? Rules BTN. Rules. Let's try it again. Okay. Dice value R should have an empty array. Yeah, we didn't do that one, did we? Yeah, here's this one. Each time the user rolls the dice, we will need to keep track of all the dice values. We're going to create a variable, dice values R, to track this, right? So let's put right here on 17, let's say let dice values R equal an empty array, thusly, not like that, like that. All right, now let's try it again. Yeah, woo, wee, woo, wee, woo. All right, so there's that. Looks good, and submit it. All right, so now we're on to step 2. So when the user clicks on the Show Rules button, the rules for the game should display on the screen. When they click on the button again, the rules should be hidden. We're going to use an event listener to invert the value of the isModal showing variable. We'll toggle the visibility of the rules container and change the text of the rules button to show rules or hide rules. All right. So yeah, for this one, we're going to be doing an event listener. So if you're like me and you forgot, we're going to come over here and type in something like this, event listener JavaScript. It's right here. How about that? Boom, event listener JavaScript. We've got this MDM web docs right here. We'll come over here and we'll look at this thing. So that we're going to have the add event listener. We're going to have the type, and then the listener, which is like a function that does something, right? A JavaScript function, right? So what we'll do here is we will start by looking at this, and when the rules button gets clicked, all right? So when this gets clicked, it's going to do that. So let's say rules btn dot add event listener, all right? And we're going to do a click event, and then we will do the function. So we'll have the little empty parentheses like this, and we will say the arrow like that, and then do the empty object like that. And at the end of this, let's cap it off with a semicolon. Not like that. Like that? Yeah, like that. All right, cool. So now we're right here. And what we're going to do is we will say something like this. When this thing is clicked, we're going to change the isModal showing to the opposite of what it is, right? So right now it's, let's come over here to the styles. Was it isModal showing? Yeah, styles. Let's go to, what's isModal showing? Oh, we haven't assigned it anything yet. All right, anyway. So yeah, we're going to change it from false to true. So we'll say something like this. isModal showing now equals the opposite of is modal showing, right? So if it's true, it'll turn to false. If it's false, it'll turn to true. Let's cap that off with a semicolon. All right, so now we got to deal with this other stuff. Toggling the visibility of the rules container and changing the text of the rules button to whichever one is appropriate, right? So inside of this thing, we're also going to do that. So let's do an if statement. So if it's true, so if this exists, we're going to do the hide rules and we're going to set it to the display to block. And if it's false, if it's not showing, we're going to have show rules on the button. So this button right here. So right now it's not showing. So it'll have show rules on it and it will have the display of the rules container as none, right? So yeah, let's do that. We'll say if right here, if, and inside of this, we will say if is modal showing exists, or if it's true, whatever you want to say, we'll do that. And what we're going to do is we're going to set, rules container dot style dot display is now going to equal block. Block. Like that. And we'll cap that off with a semicolon, right? And we're also going to change the text of it to hide rules. So if this is clicked and the rules are here, we're going to have this say hide rules. All right, so we'll get this again. We'll get rules container dot right here. Dot text. No, it's the button, isn't it? We're going to get rules button. So let's just get rules button here. We'll say rules button dot text content equals, and we will say hide rules. Like that, right? So it's going to take care of this one, this part right here. So now we're going to do the else. We'll say else. So if it doesn't exist, if it's on false, what we're going to do is we'll just take this stuff right here. Let's actually cap this off with a semicolon while we're here. Grab it from 25 to the end of 23, copy it, highlight 27 to 26, paste it. And then what we're going to do here is change it from block to none. All right. And we'll change hide rules to a show rules. And there we go. And that should take care of it. Look, it does take care of it. Let's check the code. Looks good. And submit it. All right, now we're on to step 3. So when the user clicks on the roll the dice button, 5 random die numbers should be generated and displayed on the screen. We're going to build out the logic such that clicking on the roll dice button generates 5 random numbers between 1 and 6 inclusive, sets the dice value R to contain only those 5 numbers, and displays the numbers in order in the list of all dice elements. All right. So let's check that out real quick. So let's look at this list of all dice thing real quick. So we've got this down here in the HTML. We've got this dice, and it's going to have all 5 of these. And basically, each one of these is going to be each one of these boxes right here, right? So now that we know that, what we're going to do is do the event listener on the roll a dice button, whichever one that one is. Roll dice button, this one right here. So we'll get this, bringing this down, bring it like this. All right. And then we'll say dot add event listener. All right. And so we're going to have a click event. Then we're going to do the parentheses, the arrow. Oops. The arrow. And the empty object. Let's go to the end and cap it off with a semicolon. A semicolon before we go to it. And then let's drop it down like that. All right. So in this thing, we're going to need to do like a random number to generate, to push into this dice values R array, right? So let's do that first. But actually to do that, we're going to need to do a while loop. and say, while this dot length is less than 5, because we're only doing 5, keep pushing the random numbers into here, right? So let's do that. Let's say while dice values are dot length is less than 5. What we're going to do is we're going to say, first let's make the random number. So let's say let random equal, we'll say math.random times 6. All right, so that's a random number between 0 inclusive and 1 exclusive times 6. And then we have to do the math.ceiling on that just in case it's 0 or whatever, right? So we'll say math.ceil like that. Actually, I don't know. Would it round up if it was 0? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we should do +1 and then math.floor and then +1. That might make it a little more accurate. +1. All right. That way, if it's 0, it'll round down to 0 and then add 1 to it. All right. So now we've got that. So now let's push those into dice values R. Let's get dice values R here. Say dot push random. All right. So we also have to display, let's cap these off with semicolons. We also have to display the numbers in here, right? So to do that, we're going to have to do the list of all dice at whichever number we're on. So we're going to need to make a count variable outside of this while loop, right? So right above this, we'll say let count equal 0. Count equals 0. Count equal 1. Let's start. No, count equals 0. Yeah. Let count equal 0. And then we'll say, what is this thing? List of all dice. List of all dice. Because let's before we do that, let's come down here and do a console.log list of all dice. All right, let's open up the console and we can see it's an object like this. All right, we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So that's why we're going to be accessing it with this count. So we'll have a list of all dice at 0. Now up, but we're also going to be doing the text content of these things right here. So dot text content now equals random. And did that not work? Well, maybe, hold on, we'll see. Let's roll the dice. Well, it worked on one of them. Oh, plus we got to say count plus plus. Count plus plus like that. Let's roll the dice again. Still no good. What's up with that? Math.random this, push that, list of all dice, this equals random, count plus plus. What else do we got to do to make this thing work? Let's see what, let's check the code and see what it says. When our roll dice is clicked the second time, our dice values array should contain only 5 new elements. Oh, yeah. So let's come over here and let's say also, let's reset dice values R to an empty array so that every time it's clicked, it resets. Now let's see what it does. Still no good. What's the problem with this? All right, roll dice button, count. Counts here. Count plus plus. Is this count not good enough? Oh, let count. Let count equal this. Huh? Why is this count not seeing this count? What's up with that? It's clearly it's not counting. I don't want to ask the expert right here in the middle of my video. Maybe this is wrong. Maybe the math.random's wrong. Let's try wrapping this in a math.seal. Math.seal. All right. Let's get rid of this. Let's try it again. Still no good. I mean, it's doing that. What's the problem, though? Oh, math.seal and math.floor. Let's get rid of this. Try it again. Still no good. Dice values r.push random. List of all dice at count. Not at 0. How about that? Now let's roll them. Okay, looks good. Check the code. Looks good. And submit it. All right. So now we're on to step 4. So for each round in the game, users are allowed to roll the dice a maximum of 3 times. If a user clicks the roll dice button but has already made 3 rolls, the browser should show an alert to indicate they must select a score. Otherwise, it should roll the dice as it currently does and increment the rolls variable. All right. First off, look at this. So they did a for loop, and maybe we should have did a for loop. Maybe I should have did a for loop. Because I bet you did it a while too. But whatever. Here's the for loop. We could have done that, but whatever. Also, they did the math. They did the floor plus 1, which I guess that's smarter too. But whatever. We did it our way, right? More than one way to code a program. All right. So let's do this. So we can only do it a maximum of 3 times. We can only click this thing a maximum of 3 times. So let's start by making a count variable inside here. So let count equals 0, right? So we'll say an if statement to check if the count is 3. If, and then we'll say count double equals, how about triple equals? It's JavaScript. If count triple equals 3, what we will do is we will say alert, choose a score. Let's put a string in here. Choose a score. How about that? And then we'll do an else after this, else, and then we'll do our roll dice inside of here. And we'll also do count plus plus to keep it moving, all right? Let's tab this over and we'll do count plus plus right under that to get the count to the next level. All right, and so that should work. Let's come over here and roll the dice. 1, 2, 3. No alert. What? Oh, okay. Alert. Choose a score. If count triple equals 3, choose a score. What's wrong with that? Should we? Oh, we need to put the count outside of the thing. X right here. We'll do this and put count here. Control X, submit. Now let's try it again over here. Roll, roll, roll. Yeah, there we go. Choose a score. Okay. Check the code. Come on now. Oh, that's not how you spell let. Let. All right. Roll, 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 you boat. All right. Check it. Looks good. And submit it. All right. So now we're on to step 5. And we're and here we go. So now we're going to need to be able to update our roles in our round on the page. We're going to create an update stats function to update the text of those 2 elements with the appropriate values. Then we're going to call that function when our roll dice button is clicked and the dice are rolled. All right. So yeah, for this one, we're going to be making a function that updates roles and rounds. So we got this roles and rounds up here. We're just going to update these, whatever these numbers are, we're going to update them here and here. All right. So let's get to it. All right. So let's start by making the function here on 33. Let's say const update stats equals. Then we'll have the parentheses, we'll have the arrow, we'll have the object, we'll cap the object off with a semicolon, and then we'll drop it down like this. So all we got to do is deal with roles dot, is it roles? Hold on. Current round, that's what it is. Current round, current roles. So current round roles, how about that? Copy that, bring it over here, drop it off. And let's get rid of this part too. Why not? And then let's say dot text content. There we go. Now equals roles. There we go. And then let's cap that off with a semicolon. And is it current round? Let's just take this. Let's take the whole thing. How about it? Let's take the whole thing. How about that? Just drop it off like this. Get rid of round. Is it round? Hold on. Current round. Get rid of roles. There we go. Get rid of roles right here. Turn this to round. That's not it. Round. And then we'll call it down here by saying update stats, calling it like that. And I've got the last ones up right here. These would have been the notes. No, that's not it. No, I don't. I should have kept it up. Anyway, yeah, those were my notes, but I didn't really look at them. Yeah, I did. But anyway, the thing about it is this looks totally different than what we did. I don't even remember what we did. We did like a count or something like that. Yeah, I forgot there was roles up here. I mean, it was like a whole day since I'd made that video from the one before, so whatever. Anyway, yeah, this is a lot better though. But just do roles plus, call roll dice right here, and that's it. We should have done that, but you know, whatever. It worked. We got to this one anyway. So we did this one, called it. Let's go over here and roll the dice. How about that? Okay, rolls. 1, 2, 3. Hey, all right. So it won't advance rounds, but we know it's going to work because we did it. Let's check the code. Looks good. And submit it. All right. Now we're on to step 6. So each time we roll the dice, we could end up with a 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, full house, straight, or a random combination of numbers. Based on the outcome, we can make a selection and add points to our score. All right. We're going to start by creating a function called update radio option that takes an index and a score value as arguments. It should set the score inputs at that index to be enabled. And we're going to set the value of that input to the score and display comma space score equals an embedded expression with score inside of it. So we're going to have to make a template literal with this one in the correct score spans element. All right. So after all those words, what we're going to do is first open up this thing right here. All right. So we'll come over here, right click this one and open it up, and we'll go to number 1 and see what they're talking about. All right. So we're going to have these and we want it to say score, blah, blah, blah. All right. So let's roll the dice a few times and see if it happens. So basically you see how this says comma, space, score, whatever. That's what we're going to be doing right there. We're going to see this. Okay. Unlucky. All right. Keep it. Go to the next one. Let's see if it ever gives us anything else. So it'll do something like this and make it to where we can actually click this. So right now these are disabled and these are enabled right here. So let's come over here and look at the HTML to see about the disabled and enabled thing. All right. So we can come over here and we're in this score options. Let's go over to the script again. And we see score options inputs. We got score inputs and score spans, all right? So we've got the score options. Here's the inputs. And then the spans are going to be right here. So here's the opening span and the closing span. It's just waiting for something to go inside of that. And that's going to be the embedded expression. But we can also see right here, each one of these are disabled, all right? So, and this one too. All right, so that's basically what we're going to be doing. We're going to be accessing this element, this whole thing right here, the score options at inputs. All right, so yeah, that's it. Score options at inputs and score options at spans. So let's come over here to the JavaScript and knock that out. All right, so we're going to start by creating a function called update radio option. We'll say update to no. This is JavaScript. We got to say const update radio option. All right, and what that's going to equal is a couple of arguments, index, and we'll also have score in there. All right, we'll do the arrow, and then we'll do the, pardon me, little brackets, curly braces, I should say. We'll drop this down like that, and we will start. So we're going to be using the score inputs at, what is it? We're going to be using score inputs at index a lot, right? Because we're going to be doing the score inputs. Let's open up the HTML again. So like score inputs at index 0, score inputs at index 1 right here. So we will be saying, we'll do something like this. We'll say let, where are we? Right there. Let input equal score inputs at, come on, huh? Index. All right, let's cap that off with a semicolon. Come down here. Now we're going to deal with the little disabled and enabled thing. So right now we saw they're all disabled. So what we're going to say is if input equal input dot disabled, and we don't have to say true because that means it's true. So if it is disabled, what we're going to say is input dot disabled now equals false, like that. And let's cap that off with a semicolon. There we go. And so now that we've got that taken care of, we can set the score inputs at that index. That's the enable part. Set the value of that input to the score. So we'll say input dot value now equals score. Boom. All right. And we're going to display this in the score span. So we'll say score spans at index now equals because remember score spans equals score options at span, right? So it knows. So score spans at index is now going to equal the embedded expression. So let's put the backticks, which is to the left of the one above the tab key. We'll say comma score equals. We'll do the embedded expression right here, not like that, and we'll say score inside of it, right? So now when we roll the dice, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Is this not good because we didn't call it yet? Check the code. What? Oh yeah. Check the code. New. Update radio option should update score inputs element at the provided input to be enabled. What did I do? Input dot disabled. All right. Score inputs at index. That looks good. What? What? Let's go over here. Let input equal score inputs at index. That looks cool. Update radio option should update the score inputs element at the provided index to be enabled. What? That should work. didn't do anything, so all right. Let input equal this. All right, input dot disabled. If this is the case, change it. What's it doing now? Let's get out of this thing and say, no, that's stupid. Input dot value equals score. All right. Score spans at index equal, dot text content. Should element to provide it what? No. Oh, well, that worked, but that wasn't the problem. That wasn't what the problem said. Anyway, so yeah, that's what we needed to do was add dot text content on there, but for some reason it said something else. Anyway, whatever, it worked. So yeah, there it is. Screenshot it, whatever, and submit it. All right. So now we're on to step 7. So if we roll the dice and get a 3 of a kind or 4 of a kind, then we can get a score totaling the sum of all 5 dice value, right? To calculate this, we're going to create a get highest duplicates function, which takes an array of numbers. The function will need to count how many times each number is found in the array. If a number appears 4 or more times, we're going to need to update the 4 of a kind option with our update radio option function. If a number appears 3 or more times, we're going to need to update the 3 of a kind option, and in both cases, the score value should be the sum of all 5 dice. If neither of those are true, the final option should be updated with a score of 0, and we're going to make sure to call our get highest duplicates function when the dice are rolled. All right, so yeah, this one's going to take a little bit of work. First off, since we got this right here, let's throw the get highest duplicates in here already. We're going to let's just do that. Let's say get highest duplicates. All right, let's put that right there because we're going to have to anyway. And then let's create that function too while we're at it. Const get highest duplicates. All right. And while we're at it, actually, let's finish this one up. So this is going to take an array. So equals array. Let's do, whoops, that's not what we do. That's not what we do. All right, here we go. Array, and then we'll have the curly braces and this right here, all right? So let's also do a console.log. No. We're not going to do any. We'll do the console.logs inside of this to test it because we can just test it by clicking roll the dice and it'll do something, right? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to get counts of these things. Like we're going to have a count saying there's 1 4, there's 1 6, there's 2 2s, there's 1 3, right? So we're going to make a little object that we can like basically make a set out of these, right? So what we'll do here to start with is we'll say something like this. Let duplicates, because it's going to be the set of duplicates, let duplicates equal, and then we'll have an empty object like that, right? So now let's go through the array that's coming in, which is going to be the, let's put this right here. This is going to be the dice values at R. Pardon me, the dice values R array. So let's put that right here, all right? So we're going to go through the dice values R. So let's say array dot for each. We're going to use the for each method on that. And we're going to say number as the parameter. And then we're going to have the little function like this, all right? So let's cap this one off with a semicolon and then drop it down like this. How about that? All right. So first we're going to go through, we're going to say duplicates. We're going to put these numbers. All right. First off, let's do a console.log dice values R like that. Open up the console. It's nothing right now. What? What's going on here? That should be full up with something, right? After we do this, right? Let's put, instead of that, let's do console.log array in here. How about that? Let's say, under this console, let's do it, yeah, under this. Let's do console.log array. Console.log array. Run it again. Okay, so yeah, there we go. We got 3, 6, 4, 1, and 1, right? And since we're going to be messing with the array, let's put this at the beginning and the end, right? Actually, we're not going to be messing with it. All right. And then we'll say console.log duplicates right here, right? So now we do this, and so there's nothing in here right now. So what we're going to do is for duplicates at whatever number we want to put in there. So for duplicates at number, all right? So it's going to create a duplicate. It's going to create a number if there's not one, right? We're going to say this is now going to equal duplicates at number, or if there's not one already in there, or 0. Oh, duplicates at number, or 0, right? Let's wrap this up in parentheses, and then we're going to add 1 to it. So if there's already something in there, or if it's or if there's nothing in there, we're going to add 1 to it, plus 1. All right? So that's what we'll do here. Let's roll the dice real quick. All right, so see now, we've got 6, 6, 1, 6, 3. Nice. Well, it's not in order, okay? So we've got 1, 1, we got 1, 3, and we've got 3 6s right here, right? I didn't pull that one off, but whatever, you know. Ha ha ha. But anyway, so we see that the set thing is working now. It does know that there's 3 6s, 1 3, and 1 1 as well, right? So now that we've got that taken care of, let's declare some other stuff in this thing, all right? So let's drop this down 1, give it some room. And then right down here, let's do, we're going to do a max count. We're going to do a max count to find out the max number of duplicates. Pardon me, the max count of the duplicates. We're going to find out which one is the max duplicate. And we're also going to do a sum of all the values inside of the array. Inside of the array here, because we're going to do that. Where does it say that? We're going to do the sum of all 5 dice, right? So that's what we'll do first. We'll say let max count equals 0. All right. So this is the one. This is the one seeing if there's 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever. All right, of the duplicates. And then we're going to have the actual duplicate itself. We'll say let max duplicate, and then we'll just leave it like that for now because we're just going to declare it now and then fill it up later. And then we'll also let sum equal, and then we'll do array.reduce, and we will say for the parameter sum comma value, and then we'll do sum plus value, and then we'll have the initial value of 0 just in case. All right. So now that we've got this, let's see, we can't really, let's say console.log sum. Console.log sum. Make sure it works. It does. All right. These 5 plus 5 plus 5. So 15 plus 2 ones is going to be 17. I've never get these lucky rolls when I'm actually playing, but whatever. Whatever. Anyway, so we know that works. Let's come down here, and now we're going to go through the little duplicates thing using a for of loop. All right. The for of goes through. The for of can go through these things, the objects, and the for in goes through arrays. So we'll say for. And then we're going to make the const. We're going to make a new const here. We'll say, we'll have an array. We're going to use destructuring on this. We're going to say duplicate, comma count. of object dot entries, and then we're going to go duplicates. There we go. All right. So we're going to go through this thing right here, this object right here, and we're going to have the duplicate as the name, as like the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, 5, 6, and the count of them right here inside of this little array we're making. And then we're going to go, when we go through this, what we're going to do is say if count is greater than max count, max count, right? So if this count, like the, well, we don't have it over here. So if the count, like the 2 6s or the 2 4s is bigger than the 0, we're going to replace, I'm going to do that right here. We're going to replace max count with count, all right? And then we're going to replace max duplicate with duplicate, all right? So it'll say like the 6 is going to be the max duplicate and the count is going to be 2, right? So we've got that going on right there. So now let's come down here and do the next part, right? So now we're going to do the thing where we fill up the little thing. Let's go to the review algorithmic thinking thing. Let's roll the dice. You see how it says like score 13, score 13. How lucky. And then score 0 right here. We got to do that. We got to put these in there right now. Oh, I should have done that. There we go. All right. So for that, what we're going to do is we're going to say if max count, let's do a console.log before we get this if right now. Let's do console.log max count, and then we'll say console.log that's not how you spell it. Log max duplicate. All right, let's run it. All right, so we got 2 and 2 because the 2 is the biggest one and there's 2 of them. Let's run it again. 2 and 3 because 2 has what? Max count. Oh, because 3 has 2 of them and it's the number 3. All right, so that thing, these 2 do work. All right, so let's come down here and let's say if max count is greater than 3, all right? So it's this one right here when it's 4 of a kind, all right? Or more, or 5 of a kind. We're going to say update option. We're going to call the update option, where is it at? Update radio option right here. Copy that. We're going to call that. And we're going to say 1 sum. All right. So it's going to go to this thing here, 0, 1 right here. And then it's going to put the sum as the words. Well, kind of like this, score, whatever. All right. And so now we've got that. So let's copy this from 65 to 62, drop it off on 65. And let's change this to 2. So when it's 3 of a kind or more, right? And then we'll do 0 sum, right? So it'll go here to 3 of a kind and do the score equals whatever, right? And then after that, if neither of those are the case, we're going to cap it off with update radio option. Let's just take this right here. We'll cap it off with update radio option, and then we'll say 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. And you get nothing for that except for another roll if you're lucky. So there's that. Let's come down here. Let's actually roll the dice and see what happens. All right. So we got the score of 0, score of 11 on this. Here's the little duplicates array. We can get rid of that console.log right there. And it looks like it worked. It looks like it worked. So let's check the code. Looks good. And submit it. All right. So now we're on to step 8. So before each dice roll, we're going to need to reset the value for the score inputs and spans. so a new value can be displayed. We're going to create a reset radio options function, and our function should iterate through the score inputs to disable them and remove the check attribute, all right? Our function should also remove the text from each of the score spans. And finally, we're going to call this function before we roll the dice. All right. So yeah, we're going to make a reset radio option function to start off with. So const reset radio options. All right. Let's take this while we're at it. Come down here and drop it off here. Tab it over twice. And let's put the parentheses right there. All right. So now we've got that called. Let's say this equals, and we're not going to have a parameter, so we'll just have the empty parentheses, and then we'll do the arrow. We'll have the curly braces, have the semicolon, and then drop the curly braces down. All right, so what we are going to do now is our function should iterate through the score inputs to disable them and remove the checked attribute. All right. So first things first, let's come over here and let's do a console.log score inputs so we can see what kind of data type it is. All right, let's open it up and we can see it's a what do we call these things? An object? Yeah, it's an object full of properties, right? So to iterate through this, we're going to use the for of method, right? So we'll come down here. We'll start off and say for, and then we'll say const input of score inputs, right? So now we're iterating through that thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to disable each one of them and remove the check attribute, all right? So let's start by saying disable. We'll do input dot disable, because we know that's an attribute already, and then we'll say equals true. All right, and then we're going to remove the checked attribute, so we'll say input dot checked now equals false. All right, so now that we've got that, we're going to do the next thing, which our function should also remove the text from each of the score spans. Right, so let's do another for of. So let's copy this one, drop it down one, and paste it like that. And then we'll say const span in score spans. All right. And we'll say span dot text content equals empty string, right? So span dot text content now equals an empty string. All right. So now that we've got that, it should work. So let's roll the dice. Okay. Oh, look, it removed it. I think that's what it was talking about. Or was it? I don't know. Maybe let's try it again. Let's delete this and then re-put it there. Roll the dice. Let's put a check mark on one of these. Then let's roll it again. Okay, look, it did disappear. All right, so that looks good. Let's see if it's good enough for freeCodeCamp. Check the code. Reset radio options should disable all score inputs. Const input of score inputs. Input dot disabled is true. Input dot checked is false. True. All right. Const span of score spans is this. Yes. Reset radio option. That looks good. Should disable all score inputs. Let's get this out of there. Maybe it doesn't like that. No, still doesn't like it. All right, true on this one, false on this one. What's the problem? There's always something, isn't it? Let's do like input dot remove attribute equal, no. And then let's do checked. See if that does anything. Because that's what I've got written down in my notes. No, didn't work. For const input of score inputs. Input. Checked. I'm gonna go bananas. I'm looking at my at the notes not notes, but I did it before I did this. And it looks just the same, but what's the problem? True, false. Okay. Disable it. How about that? Check the code. Looks good. And submit it. What a pain. Programming is such a pain, isn't it? But it's better than digging holes in the ground and then putting that ground somewhere else. All right. So now we're on to step 9. So when we roll the dice and make a selection, we're not able to keep the score we selected and move on to the next round. Very true. Roll the dice, roll the dice, roll the dice. There we go. Let's keep it. Nope. All right. We're going to create an update score function to add this functionality. Our function will need a parameter for the score option the user selected and the type of score they achieved. All right. The function will need to add the value the user selected to the total score, update the total score on the page, and add a new list item to the score history with the format like this. All right. So it's going to be like this right here. Like let's do a score. Hold on. No. Okay, well we got to keep it. Oh, none. All right. So you see how it says none, :0 like that. That's basically what we're going to be doing. Man, bad luck. Oh, I missed one. Bad luck. Oh, well, that's why I don't gamble. Anyway, that being said, so yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make the little thing pop up like that. So let's get to it. Let's start off by making the update score function. Let's say const update score equals, and then we're going to put a parameter for the score option the user selected and the type of score they achieved. All right. And you see we've got an achieved and selected value. So those are the two parameter names we're going to use. So we'll say selected value, comma, achieved. All right. Let's have the arrow like that. Curly braces capped off with a semicolon, bringing the curly brace down like that. And let's start this thing up. So our function will need a parameter for, okay, we did that. The function will need to add the value the user selected to the total score, right? So we're adding it to score right here. Let's just take this while we're here, even though it's easy to type, but we're there anyway. So we're going to do that. We're going to say score plus equals selected value. All right. So now that we've done that, what does it say? And we're going to update the total score text on the page. So we're going to update this with the total score right here. Let's just grab it. Total score dot text content. Total score dot text content now equals score. There we go. And then we're going to do one more thing. We're going to add a new list item to the score history with the format like this. All right. So we're going to have to use a template literal but that's okay. We've done this before numerous times. What we're going to do is a list items in the score history. So we've got score history up here. Check it out. Score history up here. And it's going to be where this stuff is in the HTML. Let's take that, drop it off, score history dot inner HTML, since we're actually adding HTML to it. We're going to say this equals a template literal. We'll have the first embedded expression right here, where we're going to put achieved. Then we're going to have a space, a colon, a space, and the second embedded expression for selected value right there. So we're going to put these two in there. We've got achieved here, right there, selected value. Copy that, put it right here, right? So now that we've got this going on, let's test it out with a console.log update score. And let's put, we've got total score nan, undefined, looks good for now. Let's say 10 and high. And look, we've got high 10 right there. And that's something they're actually going to test for. I saw this a bunch of times while I was rehearsing this video. So yeah, this should work. Let's check the code. Nope. Our update score function should add a new list item. Oh yeah. What am I doing? Let's not just do it like that. Let's add a list item. Let's go at the front. Let's go to the end and add another one. And inside this one, we'll do close list item, LI, and then we'll have an LI up in this one. Yeah, that wasn't ideal, but you know, maybe next time. Looks good, and submit it. All right, so now we're on to step 10. So after a user makes a selection, they should be able to keep that score and move on to the next round by clicking the keep score button, all right? When that button's clicked, we should find which radio button is checked and capture its value and ID attributes. If the user has selected an option, we're going to call our functions to update the score, reset the radio options, and add the value and ID to the score history, right? So if the user has not selected an option, we're going to display an alert informing them to do so. All right, so it's going to be just like this over here. When we roll the dice and we pick something, and then we click it, it's going to do the history here. It's going to reset the rolls. It's going to send the round to the next round, and it's going to clear these out as well, right? And also when we roll the dice, like, oh, it doesn't matter, and then click the button with nothing selected, it'll have this little please select an option or whatever, right? So yeah, let's go do that. So there's some context clues here. First, we've got this clicking the keep score button. So we know we're going to need to do a click event listener for this thing. So let's say keep score button, keep score btn dot add event listener. All right, we're going to do a click event, and then we'll have the little callback function in here. We'll do the empty parentheses. We'll have the arrow, the set of curly braces. Let's cap the whole thing off with a semicolon, and then we'll drop the curly brace down. All right, so now we've got some other stuff going on. So we're going to find which radio option is checked and capture its value and ID attributes, all right? So first things first, we're going to do a for loop, but we're also going to need to capture the value and ID attributes. And we're going to use these outside of the for loop. So let's declare them here. Let's say let value, and then we'll also say let ID, all right? So now let's do the for loop. We'll say for, and we're going through the, what is it? The little inputs inside of score input. So we've got the score options input. So we're going through each one of these. Not that one. This one. So each one of these inputs. So what we'll do is we'll say for, and we've already got that down right here on score inputs, the score options at input. We'll copy this, score inputs, we'll come down here and we'll say for input of score inputs, because score inputs is going to be an object. And then when we iterate through this thing, we'll say we're going to be looking for the checked options. So we're going to be looking for this little action right here, which is going to be the checked attribute. So if input, so if input dot checked, that's not what we do either. If input dot checked, all right. So if that exists, what we're going to do is we're going to say value now equals input dot value, all right, and we'll say ID equals input dot ID, all right. So let me go through a thing real quick. So I was looking over here, and as we can see here, the value is going to be like 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, and I was stuck for. I had to sleep on it to figure out what was going on. But these values, at this point, we've clicked the roll the dice button a bunch of times so far, and as we can see, when we click the roll dice, it's going to like do rolls plus plus, reset the radio options, roll the dice, update stats, and get highest duplicates. As we remember inside of the get highest duplicates, we're going to have the little sum of all dice, which is the r.reduce all that. So by that point, by the time we're clicking this button will have been clicked, and these will no longer be these strings, but they're going to actually be values, right? So that was confusing me for a little while. That being said, let's go to the next part of this thing. So if the user has selected an option, we're going to call our functions to update the score, reset the radio options, and add the value and ID to the score history, all right? So basically, we're just going to check to see if value or ID have been changed, right? Because if this happened, we changed the value to this thing, right? So we'll say if value exists. Oh, also, when we're done with this, we're going to have to break out of this. So break. So we're breaking out of the for loop once we found it. So if value exists, what we're going to do is we're going to need to reset this rolls count. We're also going to need to push the round forward. So we'll say rolls equals 0. We'll say round plus plus, all right? So we've got those two taken care of. And now we're going to need to, what else do we got to do? Oh, we also have to update the stats as well. So we're going to use this update stats function that we made right here, all right? We're also going to be using reset radio, update, no, we're not. Where's reset? Reset radio option, we'll also be using this. And what else are we going to be using? Add the value and the ID to the score history. So we're going to need to do the update score as well, because that's the thing that does the history. There's update score right here that adds the little history list item as well, right? So those are the three we're going to call. So let's call the first one update stats, all right? We're also going to call, what did it say? Reset radio option, all right? So reset radio options, all right? And then we're going to also do the ID and score history, which was update score. Let's go back up here. Update score, and then we've got these two parameters up here, the selected value, which is going to be our value, and then the achieved, which is going to be the ID, all right? So we'll do that. We'll say reset, no. We'll say update score, and then we're going to have value and ID in there. All right. So that should work. Oh, also we have to, if the user's not selected an option, we're going to display an alert. All right. So we'll say if this exists, we'll do that. And if it doesn't exist, we'll do an else. We'll say alert, select a score. All right. So let's check it out. Roll the dice. Let's get this. Check it. No, it didn't work. Okay. What's the problem? What did I do? All right. Update score. Got it. Reset radio options. Got it. Update stats. For of. Keep score button. Click event listener. What else? What's wrong? Let's go to the console. Input is not defined. Input of score inputs. Const. How about that? How about that? Okay. There we go. All right. All right. So it does that. And now let's do it without checking it. Look at that. Select a score. Okay. So that's what it was. There was no const there. Programming. All right, let's check the code. Looks good and submit it. All right, so now we're on to step 11. So at this point in the game, we are able to roll the dice, make a selection, and play for a few rounds. However, we should notice that there is no end to the game and there are infinite rounds. All right, that's true. According to the rules, there should be a total of 6 rounds. And then the game ends with the final score. So after running our logic, when the user selects a score, we should check if 6 rounds have been played. And if so, we'll display an alert with the user's final score after 500 milliseconds. All right. So I don't really want to go back through freeCodeCamp to figure this one out. And there's no real index to figure this out either. So this time, let's use ChatGPT to figure this one out. Because I mean, we've seen this before. We know there's something, but how do we do it? We'll figure that out. So what we want to ask ChatGPT is, how do we do display an alert after a set amount of time, right? So let's say that in JavaScript, how do we set an alert after how do we display an alert after a set amount of time? Spell that right. How about that? Boom. And then it takes a while. Is the internet down? All right, here we go. Set timeout. All right, so we're going to do the set timeout, and then we'll have a function inside that with the alert. And then that's going to be the first. This is the first argument here. And then the second argument is going to be the amount of time, right? So that's what we'll do. So let's come over here and we'll say we're inside of the selected value if statement inside of the keep score button at event listener. So what we'll do here is we'll do that set timeout. So we'll say if, let's back it up. If round equals 6, right? So if we did round plus plus and we're now on 6. So if round triple equals 6, all right, what we will do is we'll do the set timeout, and then for the first thing, we're going to have that function. So let's do a callback function. All right. And then we're going to also have comma 500 for 500 milliseconds. All right. So for the callback function, let's cap this off with a semicolon too. For the callback function, let's drop this down and let's call alert. And then we'll say your score is, and then, okay, so let's do backticks for a temporal literal. And then let's say final score, colon. Then we'll have the embedded expression. Almost. I'm doing this no look. And then we'll say score like this, all right? So I don't want to go through 6 rounds or 5 rounds, whatever. So let's come up here and let's, on line 22, let's say round equals 5, all right? And let's roll the dice. Let's keep this 8. Keep the score. There we go. Final score 8. Boom. Okay, looks good. So let's get rid of this. Let's check the code. Looks good. And submit it. All right. So now we're on to step 12. So if we go through 6 rounds of the game, we should see the alert show up with our final score. Yeah, we've gone through that before. But when we dismiss the alert, we are able to keep playing for more rounds past the original 6. All right. So yeah, let's do that real quick. Let's say round. Well, that's not how you spell it. Round equals 6, like that. Let's roll the dice, keep the score. Okay, there we go. Looks good, except for round 7. So yeah, correct. So what we're going to do to fix this, we're going to reset the game. So it's just going to be like those resets that we did in earlier courses. Let me get this stuff fixed up. All right. So we're going to declare a reset game function to do so. We'll reset all of the list of all dice elements to display 0. So all these what? List of all dice elements to display 0. Huh? Anyway, we'll do that. What? Hold on. What's list of all dice? Anything with the die. What do you call this thing? When it's a period? Class. That's what it is. So anything with a die class. So let's go look at that. Dice. Die. Where are you? Die. So lame. Where is it though? Oh, right here. All these. So it's got to be these right here. So yeah, we're going to make them equal 0, but I guess it would be the same as, no. Hold on. Why would we do that? Look what happens when these are 0. It does this, which is not cool. Anyway, so let's go look at it some more. Yeah, we're going to do that though. All right. We're going to update score and rolls to be 0. We're going to update round to be 1 and set the total score text to the user's total score. And then we're going to clear the score history by setting it to an empty string. We'll set the current round rolls text to the number of rolls and set current round text to the current round. Finally, we're going to reset all of the radio buttons to their initial states. All right. And then we're going to call this function after displaying the alert with the final score. All right. So we're going to do what this says. But I think we'll see what happens, right? So first, let's declare reset game. So let's say const, that's not it. Const reset game, gizmo game, all right? Equals, and we're going to have this equal an empty set of parentheses and an arrow because we don't actually need a parameter. Let's cap this off with a semicolon and then drop this down like that. All right, and so let's do this stuff in order. So first we're going to do the list of all dice elements to display to 0. And we saw that earlier. It's this thing right here. It's going to be all of these, right? God, that's so lame. You know they did it on purpose. Look, there's nothing accidental in these things. You know this. Whoever wrote this did this on purpose because they are 100% living on the edge. So yeah, what we're going to do here is we're going to say list of all dice, all right? And then dot for each, all right? So that's going to be like the for loop going through each one and then doing something to it. So we're going to have element as the, what do you call that thing? Let's cap it off with a semicolon while I think about it. Element as the parameter. And then we're going to say inside here, we're just going to say element dot text content equals 0, like that, all right? And that should take care of it, but as we saw, it might change all these to 0. I don't know, maybe the internet HTML, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Now we've got rolled. Now, pardon me. Now we've got to update the score and rolls to be 0. So that's easy. Let's go to a different line. Right here, let's say score equals 0, rolls equals 0. We're also going to change the round to be 1. So we'll say round equals 1 like that, right? So now we're doing total score, current round rolls, and current round. So it's going to be, we're going to be linking all these because they're all going to be set to score, rolls, and round respectively. So we'll just say total score equals dot text content equals, all right? And let's get the dot text content and equals with the space right here and do that for what else we got? Current round rolls, and then let's paste that, and then we'll also say current round and paste that. There we go. So now the total score is going to be score. How about that? Score, cap it off with a semicolon, come down 1. We'll say current round rolls equals rolls like that, and then we'll have round like this. All right. So that should be good for those. And then finally, we're going to reset all of the radio buttons to their initial states. All right. So we made the reset radio options. Let's just grab this here since it's actually in our code. It's not like we have to imagine it didn't exist to begin with or something. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to do that. Do this reset radio options with a semicolon like that. All right. So now we're going to call this function after displaying the alert with the final score. All right. So let's come down here. Here's the final score right here inside of this if statement. So right after that, let's tab this over a few times. We'll say, what's the name of this thing? Reset game. There we go. We'll say reset game thusly, cap it off with a semicolon. And let's go back to, where were we? Let's go in front of this and say round equals 6. Round equals 6. Let's roll the dice. Yeah, let's give us 20 points. Let's roll. Game over. 0. I don't like this. I don't like this at all, but that's what it said to do. I would rather it be like this. Let's roll it again. None of the above. All right. Yay. Oh, no, it still does 0. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Let's take that out of there. Let's do it one more time just to make me feel good. Yeah, I'd rather it do that. Honestly, I'd rather it do that, but that's not what it told us to do. So let's set with 0 there. Great. And let's come down here, check the code. Looks good. And submit it. All right. So now we're on to step 13. So if the user rolls 3 of one number and 2 of another number, this is called a full house. We will need to declare a detect full house function to check for this. Our detect full house function should check if the user has rolled 3 of one number and 2 of another number. If so, it should update the third radio button to display a score of 25 with the correct attributes, all right? If not, it should update the last radio button to display a score of 0 with the correct attributes, all right? Also, we're not going to forget to call our new function when the dice are rolled. Okay. So let's do it. We'll start by creating the detect full house function. Let's say const. You know what? Let's take this, copy this, and drop it off here and change the name of it. Detect full house. All right. And then right here, let's do the little curly braces with the semicolon, drop this thing down. Okay. So now that we're doing that, we're going to check if the user has rolled 3 of one number and 2 of another number. Okay. So we're going to have to do the same count thing like we did on this get highest duplicates function. So let's just take from line 60 up to the end of line 51, right? Because we're just going to be pretty much using the same for loop. Okay. Let's grab that and let's drop it here on, let's highlight 88 and the end of 87, drop it like that, right? So now we've got counts like this, and then we've got num of r. So let's put r in here as the parameter, so these parameters match up. All right. So now we're going to be doing the same counts plus, and then counts equals 1 if there is no counts at num, whatever. You know, this is how we did it last time. So now that we've got this taken care of, what we're going to have to do is look through the counts object, and let's come over here. Let's say const array 2. How about that? Equals, and then let's do an array with 1 comma 2. Pardon me. 1 comma 1 comma 1 comma 2 comma 2. How about that? And then at the end of this, let's call detect full house. Let's call detect full house after it. Let's say detect full house array 2. All right. Now let's do a console.log. We can console.log inside of here. All right. So let's do console.log counts to start off with. Let's open up the console. Okay, so we've got 1 is 3 and 2 is 2. Okay, so we've got the 3 1s and 2 2s in there. So that's basically what we're going to be looking for, is to see if this counts object includes something. This one needs to be either a 2 or a 3, and this one needs to be either a 2 or a 3, right? So what we need to do is use the object.values method. So let's come over here and open that up. So let's say object.values. Boom, right there. So the object.value static method returns an array of a given object's own enumerable string keyed property values. Okay. So when we've got this object right here, we say console.log object.values object. When we run it, we've got some string 42 and false. We've got the value some string 42 and false, right? So then when we do this thing and we say, let's say object.values counts. Let's wrap this thing in parentheses and say object.values counts. You can see we've got 3 and 2 right here. So we're going to need to do on this counts, on this object.values counts, we're going to have to see if it includes a 3 and a 2, you know, using the, that's not how you spell it, includes method. Where are we at? Right here. And we've gone over this a few times. It just sees if the thing that's in this is included in this, yes or no. Okay. So that's what we'll do, is we will come down here and say something like this. Const values equals object.values counts. Okay. So now we've got that. It's going to look just like this right here. And now what we want to do is say if, let's drop this down. All right. We're going to say if, that's not what. All right. How about this? So we'll say if values dot includes 3 and, we'll do an and values dot includes 2. Okay. We're going to do the thing we did up here for this, is we're going to call the update radio options thing. So let's just take 81 to 80, or 80, any of these, honestly. 81 to 80 to the end of 80 like that. And let's drop it off right here inside of this if statement. And then we'll change this up because we're on full house. So 0, 1, 2 right here. So we'll change this up to 2. And we also are going to give it the score of 25 instead of the sum of all dice. So let's just put 25 right there. All right. So now when that gets called, let's see. Okay, look. So when it gets called, it's got full house, score equals 25 because we're calling it right here. All right. Let's put some space in between this. So we're calling it right here. So it's doing this. So now what we got to do is also have this none of the above showing as well. And we've already got that written down right here on 84. So let's just take 84 to 83, copy it, and we'll drop it off right here on the if statement. Actually, let's put a little space in between. Let's get rid of this counts, this console.log, because we pretty much know what's going on now. So we've got this, and we can see full house score equals 25, and none of the above score equals 0. So that's good right there. So now let's do the detect full house. Let's take this right here. Let's do a control X on that. All right. Let's bring it up one like that. Do we need this constant array? We don't need this anymore either. So let's just get rid of that. All right. And let's come down here, and we're going to do this inside of the roll dice button. So let's just highlight 46 and 145, pardon me. Drop it off, tab it over 1, tab it over 2. Let's take dice values R, and let's drop it off inside of here. And now let's check the code. Looks good. All right, and submit it. There we go. I'm happy that worked the first time. Now we're on to step 14. So now for the last portion of the game, we're going to need to create an algorithm that checks for the presence of a straight. A small straight is when 4 of the dice have consecutive values in any order. So for example, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, resulting in a score of 30 points. A large straight is when all 5 dice have consecutive values in any order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, resulting in a score of 40 points, okay? We're going to declare a check for straights function which accepts an array of numbers. If the user gets a large straight, we're going to update the 5th radio button with a score of 40. If the user gets a small straight, we're going to update the 4th radio button with a score of 30. If the user gets no straight, we're going to update the last radio button to display 0. Then we'll call our check for straights function when the roll dice button is clicked to complete our dice game. All right. So let's do it. All right. So this is going to be pretty similar to what we've been doing so far. So let's just come up here and let's take something similar to it. Let's take the detect full house. So from all of 102 to 86, let's get there. No, to 87. 102 to 87. Let's get the full thing, but no more than that. All right, let's get that, bring it down here, drop it off on 134. Okay, so let's change the name of it to start with check for straights. Check for straights. There we go. R is cool. We're going to be doing this counts thing again on the array, so we can keep this. But we're going to change this stuff up, okay? Let's see what we can do. All right, so let's get rid of everything from 148 to the end of 139. Let's say that. Let's get rid of that like that. All right, cool. So now that we've got this taken care of, let's do the console.log while we're at it so we can check where we go. Let's say console.log counts, okay? And then let's come down here on 144, drop it down twice, 145. Let's say, let's run check for straight. Is it check for straights? All right, let's put the S at the end. We know it ain't gonna work if we don't have it perfect. And then let's put in there array. Let's put array like that. And then let's bring this down a little bit. And let's say let array equal, let's do 1, 2, 4, pardon me. Let's do 4, 3, 5, and let's put another 3 in there. Why not? All right, so let's do that. And let's also say let array 2, let's just take this, 145 to 144, and drop it off right there. And let's change it to like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then let's put like 6 and 3. That way it's just a 4 straight on that one. And it's out of order too, so we need to sort it. So yeah, that being said, so first things first, we're going to need to sort this thing. So let's put this to, let's trade up this 2 with this 5. Let's call this 5 and let's put this 2. So we're going to need to array 2 also. What am I doing? All right. And one more thing. Let me fix this up. Okay, now let's put array 2 right there. And let's open up the console. All right, so look here. We've got, we're saying console.log counts, right? And it's got this count with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in there, okay? So to avoid, like, we could do something like and say r.sort, but the thing is, if there's duplicates in here, it's going to ruin the thing. So we're going to need to get this set, okay? So another thing is, like on the last one, we used, well, what did we use? We used the object.values. On this one, we're not going to use the values, like the actual count of them. On this one, we're going to use the keys. So we had, let's over here. Let's do object. We had object.values, but we also have an object.keys right here, which will give us all the keys. Like we see the keys are ABC here. It gives us the array with keys right there. So we could say, let's come down here. We could say something like this. We could say count dot no object. Let's say keys equals object dot keys count. Okay, let's change this to keys and let's put const in front of it. Const. There we go. Okay, object is not defined. Oh, yeah. It's got to be capital O. There we go. Now, counts. Let's put an S at the end of that. All right, cool. So now we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Oh, they put them in order for us. All right, so we don't even need to sort it. All right, cool. Awesome. Awesome. Actually awesome. All right, great. So since we don't even have to sort it, we can just say like an if statement, if this thing, this thing dot join, like if this array dot join equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we could say the straight thing with the 40. Okay, so let's do that to start off. So we've got object.keys counts right here. We got that. So let's say if, let's join this together too. Let's say dot join like that. What? Oh yeah, let's get rid of this real quick. And we can see they're joined together like that. This is a string and this is a string, all right? So let's bring this back, this if, and we'll say something like this. So if keys equals, triple equals, and let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or keys, oh yeah, keys, keys triple equals 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, we could write a program that does this, but look how much easier this is than having to think of a program. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do that thing we did before with the update radio options. So let's just grab any of them. It really doesn't matter because we're going to change it no matter what. So just grab one of the update things. Let's put it inside this if, the update radio options. And we're going to do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to go to 4. We're going to change this 5 to a 4. And we're going to give it 40 points. So there we go. So there's the 40 points for the fifth radio button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. And you can see it's got large straight score equals 40 right there. So now we've got that taken care of. Let's make another one. But this time, let's check to see if four of them are in a row are good. Okay, so let's think logically for a second. If it's going to be like that, okay, like let's say this 5 is a 6, okay? And also let's say that this is this. Anyway, if we do a slice method, right, of the first 4, it's either going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, or it'll be 2, 3, 4, 5. and then like another 5 or whatever. If it's a 6, it's going to go here. But if it's like 2, 3, 4, 5 or 3, 4, 5, 6 like that, those are all going to be need to be counted. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay. So let's do an if statement. If keys dot slice, okay, from 0 to 4. So from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, non-inclusive, because remember that's how slice works. Slice right here. We can see non-inclusive. So it would be camel and duck when it's 2 to 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, not inclusive. Okay, so there's the proof right there. That being said, so we've got keys dot slice through 4. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3 like that. Right. So if that double equals, let's say triple equals, if that triple equals 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, or where's the or? There we go. Or if this thing equals 2, 3, 4, 5, then we're good, right? But what if it equals... Anyway. So let's make, so we've got these two right there. So what if it's 3, 4, 5, 6? We can still do that. Hold on. All right, let's drop this down. No, yeah, let's drop this down. Let's actually take this one. And let's redo it. Let's take this. All right, and then let's drop it like this. 2 of them, 1, 2 like that, and then drop this one down, and then tab it over, bring it back one. Actually, let's do this, and then tab this over twice. There we go. That lines up. Okay, so we also want to do 1 through 5 as well to get the last 5. Like, let's say it was these for 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that what we want to do? I know what my notes say, but does that make sense? Two, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is good, I think. But we need like 2, 3, 4, 5 here as well. But why? I'm getting kind of confused. Because I know it works, okay? This works. If we put 1 and 5 here, it'll work. But I'm confused as to why. All right, let's bring this back. So if this is the case, what we're going to do is say the update radio option, but we're going to put 3 and 30 in there. You know, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 30 points as well. Okay. So we'll do this with 3 and 30. Like that. All right. So we've got this right here. And then we're also going to need the none of the above. Let's get that from right here. I'm going to have to take a look at this though. We need to do different cases. Okay. but let's drop this off here while we're at it. So now we've got this, and we can see that it does it just like we want it to. Okay, when we call them. Let's change these arrays up though. I went 2, 3. I went 3, 4, 5, 6 in there. 3, 4. Here's a. Let's put a 5 here. And a another 1. Okay, so it would be 1, 3, 4. Oh, yeah. Logically speaking, if this was a 2 or anything other than a 1, it would be a regular a full straight, right? A 5 straight. I think that's what the deal is here. These are. Is this 6 though? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We gotta take one off. No, not like that though. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. Let's check the code. I'm pretty sure it'll work. No, not yet. We have to actually call this thing though. We got to go to check restraints, bring it down here, call it, and then put this dice variable in there. There we go. All right. It should work. It does work. All right. But I want to keep testing it out though. All right. So 1, 4, 5. I'm going to put this in order. 1, 3, 4. We already know it sorts it. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So what if this was another 3? 3, 4, 5, 6. That doesn't check any of these though. 1. You see what I'm saying? It wouldn't work. Would it? Because we're not checking 3, 4, 5, 6 up here. Why does it work if it doesn't check that? All right. Let's take this one out. No, let's keep that one. Let's get this one out of here. All right. You see, yeah, that doesn't work. Array not defined. Let's put array. Oh yeah, let's get this out of here. See, it doesn't do it. That's why I was questioning this. So let's say or inside of this, or drop it down. Keys equals triple equals 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that works now. That works. What if it was like or keys dot slice? Because like, what if it was like 1? It wouldn't work, right? See, it still doesn't work. So we would need to go another or. This is why we got to keep doing this, because like, look, freeCodeCamp doesn't know, and they're just going to change this once they figure it out. So whatever. But let's get this done while we can before they change it. So let's say keys dot slice 1 through 5 equals 3, 4, 5, 6. How about that? See, now it does it. Okay, so those are the cases where this would be a thing. Because if there was a 2 here, it would be a large straight, right? If this was a 2, right? So, or if this was a 6, it would count under this one right here, right? So I think those are all the cases that we need. So let's get rid of this array and this console.log. And that should be what? Way two. Oh yeah, and this check for straights thing. And this should be good to go. I know it worked the first time. Let's just get all this stuff here. Copy it and reset it. And then 148 to 134, let's paste it. Okay, so now it's all there. Now let's check the code. Looks good. And submit it. All right. So that's the end of review algorithmic thinking by building a dice game. Now we're on to Catch Treasure Sharp project. I already made this a while ago, but you can go check it out if you're having trouble with it. Other than that, I'm gonna get back to doing some Python videos, and you guys make sure to subscribe and all that other stuff, and like and comment and all that stuff. And we'll see you next time.